Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of AI,
Okay.
but with a specific focus on a company you might not have heard of yet.
Okay.
It's called DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
Now, they're a relatively small,
Mm-hmm.
independent AI company that's been making some pretty big waves
Yeah.
with their innovative technology.
For sure. And you know what's so interesting about DeepSeek is they just made a pretty big announcement.
Oh.
They're going fully open source.
Whoa. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Open source. What does that even mean?
Basically, they're making all of their code and data publicly available.
All of it.
Yeah, even for their most advanced AI model, which is called R1.
Okay, now that is a big deal.
Huge.
Especially when you compare it to like what we're seeing from other big players in the AI field, like companies like OpenAI that are keeping all their technology super closely guarded.
Yeah, it's a totally different approach.
So how would you describe like the difference between, say, OpenAI and DeepSeek?
I think a good analogy would be to think about like chefs, you know.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So OpenAI is like this chef who's created like this amazing new dish, right?
Okay.
But they're keeping the recipe a total secret.
Yeah, it's fast.
But then you have DeepSeek.
Okay.
And they're like a chef who not only shares their recipe, but they actually invite everyone into the kitchen to learn and experiment and improve on it.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Right.
It's like they're saying, hey, let's all make this incredible dish together.
Exactly.
So how did DeepSeek announce this whole open source thing?
So they had this event they called Open Source Week, and they made the big announcement on Twitter.
Of course they did it on Twitter.
Or else. Anyway, they said they're releasing 5 open source repositories.
5 repositories. For people who don't know, what is a repository?
Yeah, so a repository is basically like a digital library where they store all the code and data for their AI models.
Gotcha. So they're basically putting all their cards on the table.
Pretty much, yeah. And the interesting thing is they didn't just like dump a bunch of files online and call it a day.
Okay.
They seem really committed to this whole transparency and collaboration thing.
So what'd they say exactly?
In their announcement, they actually said, and I quote, "We are a very small team exploring artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
Starting next week, we will open source 5 repos, small but earnest, to share our progress with full transparency."
Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement.
It is, and it really shows how dedicated they are to making AI more accessible, you know, and pushing the boundaries of the field as a collective.
I love that idea, the collective advancement of AI.
Me too.
Okay, so we've got this small company, DeepSeek, going head-to-head with these industry giants by, like, giving away their tech for free.
It seems that way, right?
What's the catch?
Well, there might not be like a catch,
Okay.
but it's not quite that simple either.
Right, I'm intrigued.
So they've actually had some challenges with their API services.
Oh, really? Like, what kind of challenges?
Well, there have been some security concerns that led to shutdowns in a few countries.
Oh, wow.
And then their infrastructure has been kind of strained by just the volume of traffic they're getting.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
So this whole open source thing, it could be a clever way to bypass those issues.
Okay, I see how that would work.
So now developers can download the models directly and run them without relying on DeepSeek's servers.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But aren't they leaving money on the table by doing this?
Well, maybe.
I mean, companies like OpenAI, they're making a ton of money through their API services.
It's true. They could probably monetize their technology in a similar way.
Right.
But here's the thing about DeepSeek. They operate without any external funding.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so that gives them a lot more freedom to
Yeah.
experiment and pursue their vision
Right.
without pressure from investors who might be pushing for,
Yeah, like a more commercially driven approach.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't have to answer to those quarterly earnings reports or anything like that.
Exactly.
So they can really just focus on their long-term goals.
I think that's a big part of their philosophy.
It's pretty inspiring, honestly. I'm starting to see why people are calling this like a revolution in AI.
I know, it's pretty exciting.
They're really like shaking things up by
Oh.
challenging the status quo.
Yeah, I mean, they're really asking the question, does it always have to be this way?
Yeah. Is there a different way to do things?
Exactly.
So how do you think this whole open source strategy is going to play out for them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I think it's helpful to look at a historical parallel.
Okay.
Think about the early days of the internet.
Okay.
A lot of the foundational technologies back then were open source.
That's true.
And that allowed for just this rapid innovation and collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
We could see something similar happen in the AI field with DeepSeek's move.
So instead of like a handful of companies controlling access to advanced AI,
Right.
we could see a more decentralized and democratized landscape
Exactly.
where anyone can contribute and benefit from these breakthroughs.
Yeah, imagine a world where researchers in developing countries have access to the same cutting-edge AI tools as their counterparts in Silicon Valley.
Wow.
It's a really powerful idea.
It is. Think about the potential for solving like global challenges.
Right.
From climate change to healthcare.
Exactly.
When we unlock the collective brain power of the world's developers and researchers.
A pretty inspiring vision.
It really is.
It is.
But I can't help but think about, like, the potential downsides, too.
Sure.
Are there any risks associated with making this technology so widely available?
Of course, there are always risks whenever you're dealing with, like, powerful new technologies.
Right.
But from what I've seen, DeepSeek seems very aware of the ethical implications.
Okay, that's good.
And they're actively encouraging the community to engage in discussions about responsible development and deployment.
So they're not just like, here's the tech, do whatever you want with it.
No. They're trying to foster a culture of ethical innovation.
They're basically betting on the wisdom of the crowd.
Yeah, you could say that.
They're trusting that the benefits of open collaboration will outweigh the risks.
Precisely.
That's a bold move.
It is a gamble, for sure.
Well, I think we've got a pretty solid understanding now of why DeepSeek's move is causing such a stir.
It's a fascinating story.
They're the small company with this big vision, and they're challenging the industry giants by betting on the power of open source.
And they're not just open sourcing their basic models.
Oh.
They've also made public some of their most advanced techniques.
Okay, like what?
Like their manual language reasoning training.
Okay.
And their methods for efficient long context inference.
Hold on, back up for a second.
Sure.
For those of us who don't speak AI jargon, right, what exactly does that mean?
So think of it this way. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who just can't seem to follow the thread?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like they keep forgetting what you were talking about and bring up irrelevant points.
Yes.
Well, a lot of AI models are like that.
Really?
They struggle to maintain context and coherence over long stretches of text.
Okay.
But what DeepSeek has done with long context inference is they're addressing that challenge.
So their models can handle more complex conversations.
Yeah, basically, they can process and understand much longer sequences of information while maintaining accuracy and relevance.
So it's like they've taught the AI to pay attention and remember the important details.
Exactly. It's like having a really good listener.
I like that analogy.
So how does that connect to the open source strategy?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, by making these techniques public, DeepSeek is essentially giving other developers the tools to build even more sophisticated and capable AI systems.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're sharing the secrets of their success to accelerate the progress of the entire field.
They're really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to open collaboration.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp now on DeepSeek's motivations, their approach.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into the specifics of what they've actually open sourced.
I'm ready.
Let's crack open those repositories and see what treasures lie within.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be back right after the break.
Sounds good.
All right, so we just finished talking about DeepSeek's big decision to open source their AI technology.
A really big decision.
Now let's actually take a closer look at what they've shared.
Yeah, let's dive into the specifics.
Crack open those repositories.
It's like they've opened up this toy chest and everyone's invited to play.
I like that analogy.
There are 5 repositories, each one packed with code data tools.
5.
It's really an incredible resource for anyone who's interested in AI.
Okay, so we've got these 5 repositories. You mentioned their flagship model is called R1.
Yeah.
What exactly is that and what can it do?
So imagine like a super smart computer program that can understand and generate human language.
Okay.
That's essentially what R1 is.
Okay.
It can translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and even answer your questions in a pretty informative way.
So it's kind of like ChatGPT.
Yeah, there are definitely some similarities.
Okay.
But R1 has some key differences that make it particularly impressive, especially in the context of being open source.
Okay, so what makes it stand out?
Well, one of the things that DeepSeek is really focused on is efficiency.
Okay.
So R1 can do all these amazing things, but it uses less computing power than some other language models out there.
Oh, wow. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, it means that it can be run on less expensive hardware.
Right.
Which makes it more accessible to researchers and developers who don't have access to the massive computing resources of companies like Google or Microsoft.
That's a huge advantage for anyone who wants to experiment with this technology without breaking the bank.
Absolutely. It democratizes access.
Okay, so that's R1. What about those other repositories? You mentioned one focuses on natural language reasoning training.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is in single terms?
Sure. So let's say you ask an AI, what's the capital of France? A basic language model might just spit out Paris based on patterns in its training data.
Okay, makes sense.
But with natural language reasoning,
yeah,
the AI can actually understand the concept of a capital city and its relationship to a country.
Oh, wow.
It's like changing the AI to think more like a human.
So it's not just parroting back information, it's
Right.
actually understanding the meaning behind it.
Exactly, and that's a big deal.
That is pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and DeepSeek has open sourced this training process.
So what does that mean for researchers?
So researchers can now study how they've achieved these results
Okay.
and potentially improve upon them.
So it's a huge step forward in creating AI that can truly understand and reason about the world like we do.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's that repository focusing on efficient, long context inference. We talked about that a bit earlier. Can you remind me what that is and why it's such a big deal?
Sure. So think of it this way. You're reading like a long and complicated story.
Okay.
As you read, you have to keep track of all the characters, their motivations, the plot twists,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Most AI models struggle to do that.
Really?
Get a limited memory, so they forget details or get confused as the story progresses.
Oh, so it's like those friends who zone out halfway through a movie
Yes, exactly.
and then ask you a million questions at the end because they can't remember what happened.
Exactly. And it's a big problem for AI applications that require understanding long sequences of information, like chatbots, document summarizers, even AI-powered storytelling systems.
I see the problem.
So DeepSeek's innovations in long context inference allow their models to maintain coherence and accuracy
Okay.
over much longer stretches of text.
So they've basically taught the AI to pay attention
Yeah.
and remember what's important.
Pretty much.
That's pretty impressive. And they've open sourced all of this.
Yes, they've shared the code for their custom inference engine.
Inference engine.
It's like the brain of the operation. It's designed to optimize performance for their models and handle those long sequences of information.
Okay, so by making this public, they're enabling other developers to build on their work
Exactly.
and create even more powerful AI applications.
That's the goal.
I'm starting to see why people are so excited about this.
It's a game changer.
It's not just about making cool technology. It's about empowering others to innovate and push the boundaries of what's possible.
I completely agree. And it's not just about the technology itself.
Oh.
DeepSeek has also created a framework for collaboration.
Oh, wow. So they're really serious about this.
They've set clear guidelines for contributing code, reporting bugs, proposing new features.
So it's a real community effort.
It really is. It sounds like they're building an ecosystem around their technology.
Yeah, they're inviting everyone to participate,
Mhm.
be a part of this open source AI revolution.
Exactly. And it's a radical departure from the traditional approach of those big tech companies that, often hoard their innovations and guard them jealously.
Yeah.
DeepSeek is betting on a different model one, based on transparency and collaboration.
So we've got the small, independent company
Mm.
that's punching way above its weight,
They are.
challenging the status quo, driving innovation, fostering a sense of community in the AI field.
And doing it all with a smile.
I love it, but can they actually pull this off?
That's the big question.
Can a company with limited resources
Yeah.
and a radical approach
Compete with these giants of the industry who've been playing this game for much longer.
That's what I'm wondering. Will their open source strategy be sustainable in the long run?
We'll have to wait and see, but one thing's for sure, they've already made a significant impact.
Yeah.
And they're inspiring others to think differently about the future of AI.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about DeepSeek's motivations, their groundbreaking technology,
Yeah.
their commitment to open collaboration.
For sure.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to explore.
Okay.
The potential implications of this open source revolution.
Yes.
How could DeepSeek's move reshape the AI landscape?
Right.
And what does it mean for the future of the field?
Those are some great questions.
Yeah.
And I think they're worth exploring in more detail.
Let's delve into the potential ripple effects of DeepSeek's bold move
Okay.
and see how it might change the way we think about AI.
Let's do it.
It's really incredible to see this relatively small company, DeepSeek, making such an impact in the AI world.
It really is our open source approach. It's really generating a lot of buzz.
So we've talked about their motivations, the collaboration, but how could this open source revolution actually change AI as we know it?
Well, think about who dominates the AI field right now.
The big guys, right?
Exactly. Like Google, Microsoft, Meta.
The giants.
Yeah, they have tons of resources and a lot of control over where AI is going.
And they're keeping their most advanced AI systems pretty secret.
Right. It's like a private club.
Yeah.
Only a select few get to play.
So DeepSeek is saying, hey, let's open the doors.
Exactly. They're making their technology accessible to everybody.
It kind of reminds me of the early days of the internet.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Open source software was huge back then.
Right.
It played a big role in its growth.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. We could see something similar happen with AI.
Instead of a few companies controlling everything,
Right.
we could see a more level playing field.
Exactly, where anyone can contribute, innovate, benefit.
Imagine researchers in developing countries.
Yeah.
Having access to the same tools as Silicon Valley.
Students all over the world learning about AI, contributing.
Small businesses using AI to solve problems.
It's a powerful vision.
It is, but we got to be real too, right?
Of course.
There are some downsides too.
There are always risks with powerful technology.
Like misuse.
Exactly. Someone could use DeepSeek's models for the wrong reasons.
That's a concern with any powerful technology, though, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's a challenge that we've always faced.
Okay, so it's not unique to open source.
No. And DeepSeek is aware of this. They're encouraging the community to talk about responsible AI development.
So they're not just throwing their technology out there and hoping for the best.
No, they're trying to build a responsible community around it.
I like that it's not just about the technology, it's about the people.
Right. It's about collaboration, transparency, sharing knowledge.
It's a different culture than what we usually see in tech.
Very different.
So why should our listeners care about this?
Well, AI is going to have a massive impact on all of our lives.
No doubt.
It's going to change industries, create jobs, and bring up a lot of ethical and societal questions.
And the decisions we make now will shape the future.
Exactly.
DeepSeek is giving everyone a chance to be part of the conversation.
They're saying, hey, this is important, and we need to figure this out together.
I like that.
They're making AI more inclusive.
So what you're saying is we have a chance to create a future where AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
That's the goal, and I think DeepSeek is taking a big step in the right direction.
We've explored their journey, their tech, the impact of open source.
It's been a great conversation.
I encourage you, our listeners, to check out DeepSeek's resources, explore their repositories, and maybe even contribute to their project. You might just be part of the next big AI breakthrough.
It's an exciting time to be involved in AI.
Will DeepSeek's gamble pay off? Only time will tell.
But they've already made a big difference. They've challenged the way we think about AI.
They've pushed the boundaries and started a really important conversation.
That's what makes their story so interesting.
It shows that anyone can make a difference.
That even small players can have a big impact.
And that open collaboration can lead to incredible outcomes.
So as we wrap up, we'll leave you with this thought. What role will you play in the future of AI?
Will you be a spectator?
Or a participant?
The choice is yours.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of open source AI.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing those boundaries.